Wow, good morning, girl. Number one stunner, good morning. Kawana Bigelow, good morning. Shauna Hinton, good morning. Valerie, good morning over there as well. Over there as well. Facebook, YouTube. Mike, good morning, sir. Lawanda, good morning. Tara, I think that's morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. DeAndre Richardson, good morning. Minister Sanders, good morning. Rufus, good morning to you. Come on in the building. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Kimberly Fuller, what up, sister? What up, sister? Brother Coach Apostle. You messing. Gwen, good morning. Pastor Godbo, good morning to you. That's right, Val. Stephanie Austin, good morning to you. Come on in the room. Hope everybody's doing well. Got you some rest. I hope most of you had a day off, a holiday yesterday. Didn't want to disturb folks who had the ability to sleep in and take your time of rest. Metamarv, what up, bro? What's up, what's up, what's up? Teresa McCoy, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Go ahead and name this day as you come in. Good morning, Tamika Robinson. Go ahead and name this day. That's right, Tara. I like it. Go ahead and tag, share, tag somebody. We call them warm tags. Just give somebody this link and say, hey, I think this will be good for you. I think this will help you. Anthea, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Flozier Lucas, good morning to you. Good morning, Narissa, good morning. Finally up. You know, my first one on here. Keisha Davis, good morning to you. Come on in the building. We'll get these notifications off. Give me do not disturb on. Should have done that. Anthea, don't start that Aggie Pride stuff. That's called supporting my son. I got it on. It is Black History Month. I'm trying to rep. But you know it's hurting around. But it is what it is. I support my family. I'll have it on for the next year or so. If you get out of there this year, now it's over. I done told y'all. I have it on eBay. What's them other sites? OfferUp, Poshmark. Oh man. We got about, well, we right at 5 minutes. We right at that time where we speak to each other. Take it to the Lord Tuesday. I like that, Kawana. Gwen Parsons says Thirsty Tuesday. I like that. Stephanie, thank you for tagging Reds. That's right. I ain't hollered at my boy in a minute. That's good. Lana Kelly, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Pastor Gabo says thought-provoking Tuesday. Yeah, I like that. Thought-provoking Tuesday. Good morning, Sister Lisa Taylor Corpany. Let's go. Father, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity to declare you are good. You get the glory. You get the honor. Have your way in this place. Move by your spirit. Give us something to hold on to, something to leave with, and something to chew on after we have spent this time together. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. I'm calling this day 9 just because day 5 was Friday. We had the weekend, which would have made yesterday day 8. But just decided, I'm trying to really operate in balance. And I know a lot of people are off, and a lot of people are looking forward to sleeping in and resting. And so I let that happen. So we're back, day 9. It is day 9 of our journey. Valerie says, God entrusted Tuesday. All right. I will rejoice and be glad. I like that. I like that. Thriving with God's word Tuesday. I like that. Nay, I like that. Aubrey, good morning to you. Aubrey Accessories. Good morning to you. I think that's Monica there. I ain't seen you in a while, girl. Good to see you. Miss Joy Miller, good morning to you. So yeah, let's go. We've been talking about self-control this month. For those of you who are new to this or are passing through on either one of my platforms, this is Morning Momentum. This is a daily landing area. This is a daily platform in which we talk about real life issues. We talk about a topic and we deal with it for 21 days. Good morning, Shinwei. We deal with it for 21 days. They say it takes 21 days to either build a habit or break a habit. So that's what we do. We try to break bad habits and build healthy ones so that we become better people. Of course, it is biblically based and it is biblically founded, but it's not just for church folk. It's for anybody looking to do better and be better. All right. And so lock in with this for the rest of the month. We're talking about self-control. And this is such an important aspect of success in our life. And so we're taking the time to understand the importance of self-control, get better at operating with self-control by having the tools to do so, okay? So let's go. Let's get into it. So let's go to our daily vitamins. I call them daily vitamins because vitamins are something you should take every day. And so for this 21 days, our daily vitamins is Proverbs 25 and 28, which says a person, in the Message Bible, it says a person without self-control is like a house with its doors and windows knocked out. A person without self-control is like a house with its doors and windows knocked out. Proverbs 25 and 28 in the Amplified says it like this. It says, like a city that is broken down and without walls, leaving it unprotected, is a man who has no self-control over his spirit, and he sets himself up for trouble. Galatians 5 and 22 reads, but the Spirit produces love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, fruits of the Spirit, right? Then there's humility and then self-control. So that is a fruit of the Spirit that it comes into all of us in seed form. We have to grow it. There is no law against such as these. And we've been talking about self-control as the anchor to that. I believe that's why self-control was mentioned last, because self-control is the thing that binds all those other things together. It's hard to operate in love consistently without self-control. It's hard to operate in joy consistently without self-control. It is hard to operate in peace consistently. You can do it in spurts, but because you don't have self-control, your lack of self-control is going to get you out of that element if the circumstances call for that to happen. Kindness is going to be hard without self-control. Patience is impossible almost without self-control. Goodness is going to be difficult to maintain without self-control. Faithfulness is going to be hard to continue without self-control. And absolutely, humility is going to be hard to produce without self-control. All of those things are needed. Good morning, Tina. All of those things are needed and necessary. Galatians 5 and 22 in the Message Bible and it sums it up for us. I think it says, but what happens when we live God's ways? Question. Here's the answer. He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. Things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in our heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely. That is, in essence, what self-control is. It is the ability to marshal and direct our energies wisely. Reagan, good morning. Um, and so, Des, wake up, girl. Good morning. Pastor Gaither, good morning, sir. Love you, man. The Mad Baker. What up, Kim? Good morning to you. So self-control is the ability to manage your behavior, your emotions, and impulses to align with your personal goals and values, essentially overriding immediate desires for long-term benefits. Self-control is the ability to regulate and alter your responses in order to avoid undesirable behaviors and increase desirable ones. That's what we're talking about. Lena, Miss Lena, good morning to you. That's what we're talking about this month. Self-control is the ability to put on the brakes, right? You remember we talked about that, and think before we act. But then we talked about, and this is where we are in the middle of, we talked about the three types of self-control. And we introduced the first one on Friday, the three types of self-control. We talked about them being emotions, impulses, and movements. Emotions, impulses. What up, Donnie Ray? Emotions, impulses, and movement. And just to recap, on Friday, we talked about emotions, about our emotional state is really important. We talked about EQ as versus IQ. IQ is your intelligence navigator, indicator, and your IQ test tells people how smart you are. But your EQ test talks about your emotional stability. And we talked about, there's a real study that says life is 80% EQ and only 20% IQ. When I talk about life, I'm talking about the success in life. And you wonder why people are struggling that are smart and intelligent, because we think that our gifts, our abilities, our education, all those things will bring us success. But there's a lot of intelligent people still making dumb choices, not because they're not smart, but because they're not emotional stable. They don't have the right EQ, right? So we're not gonna get into that. So if you missed that, you need to go back and watch Friday's replay. I think it'll bless your life. But today we're talking about the second one. We want to deal with the second one today, which is impulses. Somebody need to type that, impulses. And if you're an impulsive person, you need to hold on to your seat. Try to get me, my first lady. Dang hot. If you're an impulsive person, you need to hold on to your seat. I ain't coming for you. I'm just trying to help you. I ain't coming for you today. I'm just trying to help you. All right. Because that is the second most intricate part of, or the second type of self-control, impulsive. So emotions was number one, impulses number two, and then movements. We're going to deal with that tomorrow. But the second type of component of self-control that must be managed while walking in this goal of self-control is our impulses. We can be very impulsive sometimes, and sometimes our impulsive behavior gets us in trouble. Arnethia, good morning. Impulsive behavior is what I want to talk about, that impulsive behavior. Impulse is this. An impulse is a sudden, strong, right? Watch this, unreflective desire. It is a strong, sudden, unreflective. In other words, it's strong and you feel it and you feel you've got to do something, but you ain't reflected on it at all. Mona, good morning. Kevy, good morning. It is a strong, sudden, unreflective desire or urge to act without premeditation or consideration of the consequences. It is an urge that I feel strongly, but I have not reflected on what it's going to cost me. I ain't reflected on what's it going to do for me and my situation. I've not even reflected on the outcome, the consequences. All I know is I feel it, it's strong, and I'm about to do something. Ramy, good morning. Cynthia, Miss Cynthia, good morning. Victoria, good morning. That's what an impulse is. It is a sudden, strong, unreflective desire or urge to act without premeditation or consideration of the consequences. It is a sudden, compelling urge to act, often without forethought. And examples of these examples include impulsive buying or interrupting others. I want to go deeper into those examples. But listen, impulsive behavior is this. It often involves acting on a whim. And it's hard to live your life acting on a whim. It means acting on a whim, often without forethought, such as, I broke these down in certain categories. Impulsive actions, which means reckless spending. Impulsive buying. So it might not be reckless spending, meaning you can afford it, but it's an impulsive buy. You don't really need it. I know where to put it. You don't know what you're going to do with it. You just felt the urge. That price did something to you down in your shana now. You can believe they marked this down that much. Somebody could use this, if not me. Impulse. No thought. You don't even know where I'm going to put it. Well, I got room for it. Where's it going to go? I'm going to keep it. Do I really want it? And some things get impulse buy, and you look at it 2 months, and then you get it home, you don't really like it like you liked it in the store. Something about the lighting in the store made it shine a little more. You get home, it don't even look the same. It didn't do the same to you. It's an impulse buy. Impulsive actions include gambling. Binge eating, hasty decisions on the spot with no regard for the consequences, such as quitting a job unexpectedly. You go in a day and say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people here. I'm tired of this foolishness. This is my last day. Hold on, boo. You got 5 kids. You single. You just signed your daughter up for dance. Your boy just signed up for football. You just bought a house. Just got that new car you wanted. And you gonna quit? Huh? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that, Val. Val says that's a passed down trait. Seeing your parents and aunties buy things and having it put up in the closet for years. Yeah. That's an element. That's an element. And it causes things like hoarding. It causes things like it triggers you in certain ways, or it gratifies certain things that is lodged in you, and it's an immediate soother, but that has no long-term results. Yeah, the impulse helped you in the moment, but you walk away from the impulsive decision still feeling the same after a while. Are y'all here with me? Renee, good morning. Lady Ernestine Long, good morning. Pastor Bates, good morning to you, man of God. And so it was an impulse. Quitting a job unexpectedly, impulse. You got mad, you lost your temper, you didn't know how to come down, you didn't take 30 seconds, you didn't think about the consequences. You just impulsively said, y'all can have this, walked out, kicked stuff on your way out, threw stuff down, made a mess, cussed about 4 people out that you want to do for 10 years. Right? Or impulse actions can be substance misuse, substance abuse, impulsively. Got bad news, something happened, hurt you. Go get drunk, go get high. Go try to numb the feeling. Right? It also can be, it can show itself in emotional outbursts, intense, sudden anger, tantrums, impatience. Yeah, another one says generational. All right. Yeah, we can, generational, we're gonna get into that. Social impulsivity. I can't say that word right now. Impulsivity, interrupting others, blurting out thoughts. That's still impulses. Right? Oversharing. You got caught up in the moment. Somebody asks you a question, you telling your whole life story. That's some folk, how your day? And you tell them about your whole week. Jumping to conclusions. That's an impulse. Difficulty waiting. Such as in lines, you done spent an hour in the store, but you don't want to spend 15 minutes in the line. Are y'all saying, hear me? You can spend 2 hours looking for what you want, but then you go to check out and see the line is kind of long, and you leave the whole buggy and walk out. You'll see the two things that happen. You didn't need anything that stuff in the buggy in the first place, or your lack of patience caused you to walk away from what you really needed because you couldn't deal with your inability to wait. Keith, good morning. Pastor Kellum, good morning. Kevin, my mic is working this morning. Is his mic on, y'all? Are y'all listening to me? Right? Impulse can show up, watch this, in dangerous opportunities called in risky behaviors. You're so impulsive, got caught up in the moment. The feeling was just right. We grown on here, right? School, kids going to school. Cause you to do impulsive things that are stupid, like unprotected sex. Got caught up in the moment. You don't know that man being, you don't know that woman being, just met him. Or even though you've been talking to him for a while, you ain't really vetted out their history. And that impulse can get you in a situation where you'll have something come in 9 months you ain't ready for. Or you'll get something you can't get rid of. Impulsive. Didn't think about it. I just wanted to feel the entirety of the moment. Didn't think about the consequences of it. Didn't care about them not belonging to me. Y'all hear me? That if something come out of this, it creates a whole nother problem. Right? Reckless driving is a risky behavior. Not thinking about the consequences, going 120 miles an hour with no seatbelt on. Physical violence, risky. You do stuff, don't think you're gonna get caught. Rob people, don't think there are gonna be consequences. Do things, steal from folks, commit stuff, and don't think about the jail time, don't think about the grave, don't think about leaving the family, don't think about how your family gonna feel, who you putting in bad harm's way, whose family you're messing up on the other end by the violent behavior. It's just, it's just the act. I got angry, I got mad, I got to save face, I got to do this, but I'm not thinking about the consequences of that. Some of us are still living out those consequences. Drinking, get behind the wheel. Now you think about it because there's some consequences to that because it was impulsive. Right? Impulsive behavior also shows itself in destructive tendencies, self-harm. Wake up not feeling well about yourself, not having a great day, great moment, and you thinking of harming yourself or harming yourself. Destroying property. You get mad, get in an argument, you start breaking everything in the house. Then when you come down from that high of anger, somebody got to clean it up. Somebody got to pay for it. Then you start thinking about all the money you just wasted because you done broke up your good stuff. You done knocked the TV over. That's right, Apostle Kevin, sober-minded. That's good. Acting on an impulse implies lacking careful, rational thought. Acting on an impulse implies lacking careful, rational thought. And impulsive behavior is often driven by immediate gratification rather than long-term goals and long-term desires, and is often linked to poor executive control. When we talk about executive control, well, let me read the definition, then I'll get into it. Poor executive control and a heightened emotional response to stimuli. So when I talk about poor executive control, that means the executive piece in that, or the word, means my ability to manage. So my executive control of me is my ability to manage the things that are going on. A person is in an executive role because they don't do much of the leg work or the hands-on work. They run the business with their mind instead of with their hands. When you are in the executive role, you are setting the vision, and you are measuring the results and the outcomes, and you are coaching and you are strategizing. The executive piece is the mental manager. And so my executive control of me is my ability to manage me with my mind, not necessarily with my physical actions. That makes sense. Crash out. That's right, Pastor Bates. Crash it out, man. Mark, Jonah, good morning. Crash outs, bro. And so if I have poor executive control, that means I may have very talented functions. Just like any business, any restaurant, whatever, they ain't got good management. You might have good food, good product. You might have good goods and services. But if management is poor, then that business can be sustained for long. Same thing with us. You might have talents, abilities, you can do a lot, may bring a lot to the table. But if you don't have executive control over your limbs and over your emotions and over your control of yourself, then you will still underachieve with your gifted, talented self because of poor executive control. Impulsivity is this. It is linked to the brain's frontal lobe development. You're going to hear that word again. Frontal lobe development, where emotional responses may outpace rational control. Did y'all hear what I just said? Impulsivity is this. It is linked to the brain's frontal lobe development, where emotional responses outpace rational control. And when my emotional responses outpace my ability to be rational, I become more impulsive than I am thoughtful. Dad says, Tawana Brown, good morning to you. Immediate gratification, that's not really gratifying at all. That's right. It might be gratifying for like 10 seconds, but the consequences usually last so much longer. Dad says, what helps keep me is sobriety. I'd be like, now what is going to happen if you drink? Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. This is good, y'all. This is good. So what's the impact on that in our daily lives? The impact is this. Chronic impulsive behavior can have severe consequences, including significant financial loss. Some of us are in a financial bind right now and can't keep no money. Some of us is not. You don't make enough. You just can't keep enough because you're too impulsive. It's so hard to save that way. You know, you look around and you always ask the question, where did my money go? Good morning, Dees. What happened? Too impulsive. It'll lead to financial loss. It's going to lead to legal issues because you couldn't control your temper. You couldn't control stuff. You acting reckless. You're doing stuff. Now you got legal battles. Now you got attorney fees. Now you got court cases. Now you got fines you got to pay. now you've got things you got to now think through. You're gonna have to think sooner or later. You can't think through the moment. You have to think through how to get through the consequences from the moment. Some thinking gonna have to happen at some point. Might as well be up front. Watch this. Another impact is strained or destroyed relationships. Your impulsive behavior. It destroyed or strained good relationships. Yeah. And reduced occupational success. Can't find a job, can't keep a job. Can't start a business or can't keep the business you started. It was an impulse to start it, or either you quit it on the impulse. Oh, Lord. Huh? Tara says, now you got grief and shame, and that's a whole different animal. Wow. Shinwei says, wow, the brain connection brings light to the choice words of someone being immature and making an immature decision. Yeah. There truly is a reality of underdevelopment. It is. Shinwei, I'm going to get to that. Y'all in my notes. Tawana says, I remember when back in the day, when I wanted to commit suicide, I remember hearing loudly, I don't belong to myself. I was bought with the price. Wow. However, before it was jails and other institutions. Wow. Yeah. I'm loving y'all's responses. This means y'all are embracing this. This is hitting home a little bit. Hopefully we can help just with the awareness today so that we can know how to fight. Sometimes we don't know when we don't know what we're fighting, we don't know how to defend against it. Sometimes our families didn't teach us what to fight, what to look out for, what fights our family, what things I had issues with that I probably taught you, that hopefully you can do better than I did. And sometimes we are living life fighting something or someone that we don't even have intel on. And sometimes I give you today and this week, this month is intel. Intel. You can do better. We can do better emotionally. We can do better impulsively. We can. Once we understand what some of the things that we've been doing without thought really are. Once we start to put the definition and light, begin to shed light on some of this stuff, then we can start to formulate a plan to be better at it. Ms. Cox, good morning. And so that's what I'm trying to do with this teaching. So what are some impulse triggers? What are some impulse triggers? Something called, there's 5 of them. And I want to talk through that. First of all, there's something called, there's a thought called urgency. There's both a positive urgency and negative urgency. So number one is a positive urgency. It's an impulse trigger. So a positive urgency is feeling the urgency to act. It is that impulsive, overwhelming feeling that you feel, but it's in a positive manner. It wasn't caused by anything negative. It was caused by something positive. And it gets us in trouble still. Okay, an example of that is you so in love, you want to do something nice for your person. So you go buy something very expensive and nice. but you really can't afford it. And by buying that, it's going to put you back on your bills that month and probably make your situation strained. But you're going to do it and you're going to figure it out later because you just love that person and you just wanted them to have it. Although it was driven by a right mindset, it was still an impulsive buy because you didn't think it through. It's okay to have that desire, but now what's the plan of putting something away rationally to get me to the place where I can afford to make that purchase that was in my heart for my boo? Does that make sense? It's called a positive urgency. Positive urgencies, things that are stimulated based on joy. Things that are stimulated based on joy. You know, you were so excited that you got approved for the car, and the dealership told you what your payment, what you can afford, what they'll approve you for, or you got approved for the house, and the approval amount might not be your comfortability amount that you can pay every month. They may tell you you got approved for a $300,000 house, but when you looked at that payment for that $300 house, could you do that living your lifestyle? Good morning, Dr. Godbold. Or would that strain what you were able to do, or what other things that don't show up on your credit report? Because when banks look at your credit report, they're looking at those revolving credits, but they don't look at the other things that don't show up. Light bills, water bills, stuff like that is not on a credit report. Extracurricular activities, things that you're a part of, things your children are a part of, things that come out, things that you do on a normal basis, those are not a part of your credit report. So when banks look at you as far as approvals, they're going to look at you based on the fixed things that you pay. So they may tell you, you can get that car, and you go out there, ooh, I can get that anything on this lot. I'm going to go out there and get it. And you really can't afford it. Impulse. It was a positive urgency, but it was still an urgency that can get you in trouble. Right? So I need you to think about those things. Even though you meant well, is it sound? Even though you meant well, was it prudent? Paul says it like this in a word: it may not be sin, but is an expedient. Is it the right thing to do in this season, in this time? And I think even though it was birthed from a joyous, positive emotion, if we take the time to vet through and think about it, it can still happen safely if it was not just impulsively done. Right? So that's called, hey, Mom. Tramika, if you're listening, can you bring my battery for my computer, my charger from upstairs? It's called a positive urgency. The next one is called a negative urgency. And that is when something causes an urgency. I need my charger. That is when something it's caused an urgency in you that's from a negative situation. You got angry. You about to go do something. Somebody made you mad. I'm not even thinking about the consequences. I'm just going to go do it. It's an urgency. It's a negative urgency. The third one is, I think that negative urgency is pretty self-explanatory. Huh? My computer. It's hanging up. It's plugged. My computer. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. My computer was fully charged when I started, so I didn't think I needed to plug it in, but this live is draining it. I don't want to shut you all off. So number three, number one, positive urgency. Number two, negative urgency. Number three, sensation seeking. Some of us are just sensationalists. We love The sensation, the thrill of a moment. Yeah, that's why you didn't think about the partner you was in the time, because you was just in the moment. That's why you didn't think about uh, what was going on, because you were just in the moment. It is. Thank you. You was just in the moment. You would think about it later. You was just in the moment. You just caught up sensation. It's the high of it, the adrenaline. You like to be, and sometimes spontaneity can be good, but sometimes the spontaneous acts, the thrill of it, can take us down a rabbit hole. Pastor Keller, in the moment can get you in trouble. Yeah, yeah, and it's not just on the sexual place. It can be in the moment of anything. Just looking for a challenge, looking for a thrill, looking for adrenaline rush. Yeah, yeah. Those sensations can definitely hurt us. Um, Number four, another trigger to uh, impulse culture is lack of planning. You don't have a plan. There's really no goal. You're just kind of living on a whim. Remember that saying? It's on a whim. I remember growing up just looking at my mom, and my wife does it too sometimes. Uh, Make a grocery list before you go to the grocery store. And then you stick to your list once you're in the store, and it'll cause you not to make all those impulse buys. But if you don't go with a plan, you'll go down those aisles and see stuff that just entice you, and you don't even, have you ever had to get to the register and had to put stuff back because you ain't got the money for all your impulses? Oh, you didn't like the price? Because you didn't check the price until you got to the register, and you was like, "Oh Lord, that cost that much? Put that back. I ain't paying that much for no cereal. I ain't paying that much." What the price was on the cereal the whole time, but you ain't even look at it. You just impulse picked it up. Ooh, that's good. Put it in the register. Oh, I like that. Them chips $5.99. That's too much. I can get that at Aldi. I can get that at the dollar store. Lack of planning. It helps us when we have a list and say, okay, I'm going to the store for these 10 things. You ask me, I remember my wife and my mom asking us when we was young in the house, y'all, we used to get a treat or two by ourselves. What you want, from the store, put on the list. Or you need anything else from the store, I'm making a list. So when you go in there, you have a plan. And you ignore the impulses, you stick to the plan, you know what you got the money for, you know what you came here for, you get your stuff, you get out. I'm one of the ones, when I go to the mall, I don't go to the mall to just window shop. I don't go to stores, just go from store to store. That's when you get impulsive. If I'm going to a store, I need something. I've got in my mind what I'm searching. Now, if I go store to store, I'm searching for an item. If I'm looking for some black dress shoes, I may go to 5, 6 stores where black dress shoes are. And I may look through those stores. Oh, I like that one, but I don't know if I like it too much. I'm gonna look in those other 2 stores. And if I don't see the shoe that I like better than this one, I'll come back and get this one. Even though I am looking, but I'm still have a plan. It's not an impulsive buy. If I'm looking for a blue suit, or if I need a red shirt, whatever it is, I may go to different places, but it's not for impulse. And so when I go into the mall for 2 or 3 items, I may look. And some people have been here with me and heard me say this. My wife will see this when we're going Christmas shopping for the kids, or if I'm shopping for her birthday, or if I'm shopping for somebody else's another gift for somebody else. I may see something there or smell. Some people know me, know I'm into cologne. That's one of my collecting things that I do, or I may be into certain things, and I may see something I like, and I'm like, oh, that's nice, I want that. Then I'm like, I'll put that back. I ain't shopping for yourself. You ain't shopping for yourself today, boy. It's somebody else's day, right? Not impulsive. Go with a plan. Go with a plan. Or your impulses that's naturally in you will take over and have you getting 10 things that you ain't coming in to do. Now you got to figure out how to pay for it. Lack of planning in your life, your career. You just take odd jobs because the pay is good, but it ain't, it's drifting you from your purpose. You don't have a plan. What am I after? What kind of employment am I looking for? What kind of career am I trying to move in? What am I want to get accomplished? How is this going to help me develop in what I'm becoming? I have a plan. And the last trigger for impulsive behavior is a lack of perseverance. A lack of perseverance. What is perseverance? The ability to persevere through hardships, through hard times, through process. When you have a lack of perseverance, you start becoming impulsive. You start winging it. You don't like waiting. You don't like suffering. You don't like to stretch things. So you start just starting to try stuff. Y'all listen to me? My comments didn't shut down. Y'all mad at me? Y'all sleep on me? Y'all done shut me off? Hello? Hello? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm about done. And I got on y'all nerves today. So let's talk about the root causes of this. And this is when some of y'all talk. Some of y'all talked about this earlier in your comments. I told you were in my notes. What's the root cause of impulsiveness? Impulsivity. What is the root cause of this? Now, in limited cases, there are mental health disorders that require medication, that require different things, ADD, ADHD, personality disorders. Those things can make you really impulsive and get off balance. So if you're in those kind of situations, your case is a little more severe. But I'm talking to the masses now, and most of us fall into causes 2 and 3, and not 1. But cause 2 of this is trauma. And I think I heard Shinwei talk about it before in the comments. I think I heard Valerie talk about being raised that way, seeing that, dealing with those kind of traumatic things. But impulsive behavior is a common, often unconscious, watch this, coping mechanism for emotional pain, trauma, situations where you experience PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a safety mechanism. It is things that kind of brings you instant gratification, even though it won't last long. It'll just be like a vapor. But for you, it's worth it, because if you can just feel good for a moment, it's a coping mechanism for you, right? And this has resulted in disrupted brain regulation. Even though there's cognitive things that we're going to talk about in our third point, there were some situations that happened in your life that disrupted brain regulation and operating right. Whether it was things that were passed down, things that you saw, things that you learned, things that became habit for you because it was habit by those who raised you. Maybe it's things that you went through and you've started to do stuff to self-medicate. The reality is trauma impacts executive function. Remember we talked about executive function before? The ability to manage me. And when I've had a lot of traumatic experiences, right? then I'm too busy focusing on surviving than I am on managing. Ooh, yo, that was good. I had a sip on that one. Some seasons in your life, you just been surviving. What I got to do is survive. That's why you got bills due. You know, I hear somebody say something. I'm not coming at nobody. I promise I'm not. But I hear this a lot. I've heard this, within my community. I've heard it in the personal community. I've heard it on social media from people I don't know. And people really don't understand this statement. And I want to make it to help you. I'm not making it to come. So if you've ever said this, I promise I'm not talking about any individual. I don't have nobody in mind when I say this. I'm telling you, it just came to my spirit. And I know it's a real thought, especially in the Black community and in a community of folks that live modestly, don't have much. I've heard it say all the time, I ain't gonna work all week and not do nothing for myself. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna use all my money on my paycheck to pay my bills. Somebody's just gonna have to wait. Because I'm gonna do something for myself. I'm the one working. I deserve it. That's an impulse. That's an unbalanced impulse because your bills represent your word. And you ain't just working to pay bills, you're working to keep your word. You bought the stuff and said you would pay for it monthly. You sold, you signed your line to buy the car, to buy the house. You applied for the credit card, and now that it's maxed out and the bills are killing you. So you ain't working to pay your bills, you working to pay your responsibilities. And when you put your impulses of having instant gratification over your responsibilities, that's a trauma response. Oh, I need y'all to hear me. As a trauma response, that's you trying to find some way of coping with a regimented life that's not bringing you any instant gratifications. Not knowing if you just paid your bills and do what you got to do now, get those things down, and be smarter about your decisions on what more things that you bring into your bills. Then after a while, you're going to pay those things off and you're going to have the ability to be more impulsive and buy stuff that you can afford. But right now, it's not the season to be impulsive when you have those bills that is taking the majority of the money you work for. That is a responsible response. But an irresponsible response is to say my instant gratification is more important to me than the weight behind my name. Because when you start spending money you don't have on stuff you want, when the people that trusted your word gave you something and you avoid them and don't pay them, then your word becomes nothing. And people start to form an opinion about who you are responsibly because you don't do what you say you're going to do. And they see you living impulsively by making them wait when they gave you their trust. Oh, my Lord. And I know personally, that's a hard pill for me to swallow. When I'm waiting on my money, but you crying broke, but I see you buying stuff all the time. Because you live in your life impulsively instead of responsibly. And I got to suffer because my response to your need now has to wait. Because instead of you being responsible about your word, you're being more impulsive. I know some of y'all didn't like that, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, come on, Apostle. You talking to some of them going to shout, speak in tongues, and expect God to wipe away the dead. That's right. That's right. Come on. No responsibility at all. No responsibility. Impulse. Now it's on everybody else to help you when you have not even been, come on, a good executive manager of you. Right? So hear me. Trauma impacts executive function, causing individuals to act without considering the consequences, watch this, to gain instant relief, leading to high-risk behaviors. Right? So what's the third one? So we talked about trauma being number 2. Number 3 is lack of cognitive development. I think Shinwei said that earlier about just the immaturity of our cognitive processing. And actually the trauma plays a role into this too, and I'm gonna get into that later. But lack of cognitive development, that word cognitive just relates to the process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and through senses. Cognitive is my ability to acquire knowledge, is my ability to process the knowledge I acquire. It is the ability to take that knowledge and work it through my experiences and through my senses, my cognitive ability. And so just to give you some backstory, naturally, our brain development, and I'm talking about the prefrontal cortex. I don't want to get too technical, but the prefrontal cortex is responsible for our decision making. But our prefrontal cortex of our brain, which is responsible for our decision making, which acts as the brain's thinking cap, if I can put it in that way, that acts as the brain's thinking cap to pause and reflect. My prefrontal cortex gives me the ability to pause and reflect. It does not fully mature naturally on its own until the mid-20s. That's why you gotta be careful. That's the reason why sometimes our parents, you can't make your kids make all the decisions. You can't let them make all the decisions. You got even an 18-year-old where technically they're quote unquote they're grown. You still got to be involved in their cognitive development. You got to let them see stuff that they don't see. You got to help them to see paint a picture that they didn't paint on themselves, because it's not even going to be developed on their own until their mid-20s. That's why it is a tragedy when you have kids 16, 17, 18, 19 years old doing these high risk acts and having these crimes. And now they lose their whole life, and they're in prison for life or for 30, 40, 50 years before their cognitive development even had a chance to develop. Because we're not even make the ability to make real good decisions until we're mid-20s. I did some stupid stuff in my teenage years. Even in my mid-20s, early 20s, did some crazy stuff. So that development trajectory is like this. Impulsive behavior is high in early childhood and then often decreases between the ages of 6 and 12, but frequently peaks again during mid-adolescence, roughly 15 to 18, due to high sensation seeking and emotional reactivity rather. So our reactions and our emotions and all of that is heightened from 15 to 18. Watch this though. There's a 2-process model. During adolescence, the emotional reward-driven systems mature faster than the cognitive control systems. Remember I talked about that earlier, creating a mismatch. And this increases high risk-taking impulse actions. Watch this. But trauma can slow down that process. I gave you what's natural, but you can have a grown adult still operating with cognitive development of a child, because they experienced stuff, taught stuff that suppressed their cognitive development. And so you look at them like, are you serious? That's why you can look at a 40-year-old sometimes. Are you serious? Who does that at 40? Who says that at 35? Who out here acting like a kid, acting like that? Where are your priorities? When you gonna grow up when they heal? They weren't taught when they were supposed to be taught. So now they got to be taught even though they're grown adult. And that's what I'm attempting to do right now. See, sometimes when we are shut off mechanisms, when we're coping, when we're deflecting, when we are hiding emotionally, when we have checked out, we make dormant the cognitive development in us because we don't want to learn, we don't want to hear, we're not interested. We're just in survival mode. Then when you come out of survival mode and get healed from that, you realize you didn't even learn the tools to operate maturely, cognitively. You never learn how to plan. You never learn how to sit down and think before you act. You never learn how to let your emotions be tamed. You never learn how to have an impulse, but then have a counter to your impulse. You never learned that long-term gratification is better than short-term stimulation. Nobody ever taught you. Nobody ever had a conversation. You didn't grow up in those environments. And so now you may be old in age, but young in development. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Because you keep doing what you've always done. You get mad, whoever you mad at gonna feel you. You keep doing what you always done. If I want it, I'm gonna get it. And whoever they got to wait because I wanted this. You keep doing what you've always done. If I'm in the moment, I just go with the moment. If I feel it, I'm gonna do it. If I like them, I'm gonna show them. If I'm aroused, it's whatever. That's all what I've always done. And consequences gonna be consequences, but I ain't even guaranteed I'm gonna be here for long anyway, because there you go, my self-worth is down. I'm still traumatically affected. So I'm gonna give you this, and I'm gonna stop. I'm over time. What are the factors impacting impulse control? I want to help you with impulse control. I gave you all that stuff. I'm gonna help you leave with some impulse control. What are some factors in that? I've been hearing this word. You've been hearing this word, executive function. We've got to get better with executive functions, the management of us. Because a weak working memory and planning skills limit the ability to consider consequences. So now what I got to do? I got to do my due diligence. If I think about a thing, I got to do more than think. I got to do more than feel. I got to do my homework about it and about me. What is this going to bring me? What's going to be the consequences of this? What am I going to need to get this done? What am I sacrificing by doing this? What's going to be the risk in this? What's the potential gain? Does it make sense? What's my plan? If I plan for 5 years, I can't lose perseverance in 3 years because I said it's going to take 5 years for it to work. So if I ain't in 5 years yet, why am I getting nervous? Why do I need to be impulsive? Why do I need to do something different? I haven't even saw it through yet. My plan tells me I'm in the middle of my process. And I got to strengthen my weak working memory, because my working memory is remembering what I said from the beginning. Oh my Lord. Right? So after the executive functions are strengthened, we deal with something called emotional regulation. Strong emotions can overpower the ability to pause and reflect. Let me say that again. Strong emotions can overpower the ability to pause and reflect. So I have to be able to emotionally regulate how I feel. Talk to yourself. I say this all the time. It ain't crazy if you talk to yourself. It's just crazy sometimes if you answer you. But sometimes you got to answer you too. Bradley, should you do this? Okay, Bradley, I know you feel this, but think about how you feel first. Why do you feel this way? Is it really this serious, boy? Are you willing to really give up all of this because of what they said? Those kind of conversations regulate our emotions. Are their words really that important to who you becoming and who you are? Why are you so angry because somebody who you barely know don't like you? Whew. I heard a reel yesterday from a preacher. That thing messed me up. He said this. He said, if you hear what was said about you weeks or months ago, and you lose it and unravel when you hear it, why did you unravel when you heard it when you didn't unravel when they said it? Because if they said it 2 months ago to somebody else about you, but you still got up, you still went to work, you still was positive, you still lived, it didn't affect your life, it didn't affect your family, it didn't affect anything else. Even though people were whispering about it because you didn't know it, it didn't affect who you become. It only affected you when you heard it. Why? Because you emotionally became unraveled. But sometimes you got to regulate your emotions and go back to the state you were in before you even heard it. Because at the end of the day, if it has no significance in who you are and who you're becoming, it shouldn't change the path you was on before you heard it, before it hit the fan. That's one of the things we got to get better at. We're going to be emotional. We are emotional people, but we got to regulate that stuff, right? And the last one is our environment. Your environment is an impacting factor in your impulse control. If you're around people that pop off all the time, it's going to be hard for you not to pop off, because the pop off is the culture. And when you're trying to get better at popping off, but you're around people who ain't trying to get better at popping off and they just keep popping off, boo, you're going to find yourself still popping off. If your environment is around people who are just reckless and wide open and free and whatever they feel they're going to do, and they ain't got no boundaries, you can't be a person trying to set boundaries in an environment where the culture is no boundaries. Environment is everything. Stress, trauma, and lack of consistent structure can hinder development of self-regulation. Stress, trauma, and lack of consistent structure. So if you're in an environment with no structure, it's going to be hard for you to develop structure. You ain't got no examples. You don't have nobody holding you accountable, because nobody in your circle is doing what you're trying to do. If you don't handle stress well and you're around people who don't handle stress well, ain't none of y'all gonna ever learn how to handle stress well. Oh my God. If you're not responding right to trauma and you're around people who do more dumping and more pity party and regulating and normalizing rather their trauma, instead of dealing with it, exposing it, and healing from it, ain't gonna be a lot of healing. You're gonna produce more of the same of your environment. I'm gonna stop, not because I don't have more to give. I'm out of time. I am out of time. But I want you to understand this today. Not only do we need to be emotionally intelligent, but we have to be cognizant and intentionally aware about our impulses. You got to be able to say, is this an impulse, or is this something that I really need to act on? You need to be able to feel that out, and you need to be able to stop and pause You got to be able to executively manage you better. That's your word for the day. I hope I help a little bit. The fact that you're watching me, the fact that you're listening is a sign that you still got something to do. God didn't give you another day if you still didn't have purpose. But with this new day, he gave you new mercy. Do me a favor. Take what he gave you. Win what's in front of you. Just worry about today. Win it. Winners win. That's who you are. So go be who you are. Do what you do. Win your day. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.